Namo Gurube, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sangaya.
When we are defining self or person or me or I, and then of course there are our earlier schools and thoughts, and are saying I is permanent. Permanent. It is always there. It is always, it has been there all the time. It will be there. It is here. So sort of a permanent. So in order to contradict and point it out, that is not permanent. And that is why we had the impermanent. And I talked impermanent the last Sunday. So it is quite clear. So we do not need to add up anything. But what I needed to say is then we have to, the name itself is suffering. We talk about suffering because there are school or thoughts earlier expressed that the self is joy. Self is joy. Self is a pure joy, permanent, existing. So metaphor. So according to a Buddhist idea, this self is not only not not pure. Not pure, it is impure. We talk about uncontaminated, contaminated. Remember, we are saying it is not uncontaminated, it is contaminated. It's very strange, I must tell you here. And then I had a number of talks with my friends who was medical doctors, and many of them will tell you, even within our body, it is absolutely clean. When you cut, they tell you, some of them told me, if you cut through, you will find everything is absolutely clean and pure, and if it's not, then that means you have disease. But the self itself has a disease. Self itself is impure. From the spiritual point of view, it is impure. From the material point of view, it is impure. From your desire point of view, mental desire point of view, it is contaminated. And from any angle, from everywhere you look, it is really contaminated. You have full of jealous. We have full of hatred. We are full of obsession. We are full of all this meanness and all of those, and yet you cannot go and run around like a headless chicken and said pure and uncontaminated, because we are not. We're really quite contaminated. So that's just why not pure, not joy, not permanent. And permanent. So now I have to give you why it is not permanent. Let's say our own 5 skandhas. I think the skandhas is a Sanskrit word. 5 aggregates. 5 aggregates. Let's say it is not permanent, because it grows sometimes and it disappears sometimes. So it is not permanent. It is suffering. Why? Because we don't have the freedom. We are not free by our own will. We've been controlled by other means, such as our karma, our negative activities, and our negativities, or for that matter, our karma and positive activities. Anyway, it is not free. It is not freedom, because it is controlled by others. Other does not mean any individual, but other in the sense of terms and conditions, times and conditions, or anything which is not truly controlled or free, independent free, which is controlled by other means. So which means we are suffering. We are empty because there is no one who's owning it. There is no one within that. And there is no ownership, because it is so many impermanent things combined together and function. So these are the sort of reasons why it is impermanent, because it doesn't stay permanent all the time, because it is changing, sometimes grow, sometimes decay, sometimes destroyed, sometimes developed. Also, it is suffering, because you have it is not a self-control freedom, or it is freedom without anybody's control. So because it is controlled by other means, and that's why it's not a freedom. Therefore, it is not a joy. Therefore, it is suffering. It is empty. There is no ownership. There is someone other than, there's someone who says it is the owner, or rather someone who says it is responsible even, because it is and it is selfless, because it is controlled by many other impermanent things like a time, condition, and events, etc. Many things. And that's why this impermanent suffering, empty, don't think of emptiness, empty. Selfless also don't think of there is no self and this and that from the wisdom point of view. It is, but a little more gross than that. It is, there is no one. There is no one who we call it self or me, because it's all conditioned. So these are the 4 important reasons or the criteria of the truth of suffering. And that's all I would like to talk to you today, and next week you will hear about the 2nd and 3rd Noble Truth, etc. Thank you.